Well, we're starting the new year with some favorite people. Representative Lance Russell will be here with us. Bishop Lorenzo Kelly talks about the judgment of God. Bob Ellis is here to talk about the U.S. Senate. And we'll hear from Tonchi Weaver, the Wingnut Hall of Fame inductee. Stay tuned.
Representative Lance Russell is in the studio with us today. And Lance, I've been watching national politics. I know you have too. Speaker John Boehner he's kind of learned a thing or two from South Dakota politics. If you have conservatives on committee, you just simply take them off.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the times that it appears we're in.
But it's not just national politics. Here we go again in South Dakota. Even before the legislative session begins, there are already people being thrown off committees.
Yeah, and that is my greatest concern is that apparently we didn't learn too much from the last couple of years on making sure that we have party unity moving forward, and that we include people, and that we don't have recriminations and some vindictiveness as we move forward. I was hoping that because of a lot of the things that we had last year, that we would all learn and play nice.
Well, they did learn. They learned that it worked.
Yeah.
And apparently without consequence. Many of those leaders, I guess all of them, are reelected. Lance, the Judiciary Committee in the House is a significant committee. You served on it, but that's a thing of the past.
Yes, unfortunately, this year I think one of the pinnacle pieces of legislation will be the Governor's Criminal Justice Initiative. Now, the bill has not actually been written or put out for public consumption.
But that's really a bill just to clear the halls, you might say.
Yeah, I tend to think, being a former prosecutor, that there will be a significant cost shift onto the local governments in supervision of people who would normally be sent to prison by the judges. Because the judges need to have that discretion in order to protect the public.
So, listeners, did you hear that? This is an administration that brags about, quote, balancing the budget without raising taxes. This is nothing more than shifting that expense, taking the money out of your pockets.
Well, and here's
in a new and creative way.
And here's one of the reasons that this will happen. If one of the ideas is to allow people to serve up to a year in the county jail rather than a maximum of 6 months. So essentially what that means is that the intent is to incarcerate in the local jail for twice the time that you currently have, and then to keep them on probation in the community and hire more probation and parole officers. We're going to spend anywhere between, I think, $5 and $7 million in additional corrections and folks for the unified judicial system in order to increase supervision. But we are not going to realize a cost saving in the short term for certain.
And there will be a cost increase. It'll be a doubling, really.
Yes. In Fall River County, for instance, when I was state's attorney, we were always full. In fact, we had bills from Meade County to the tune of $12,000 to $14,000 a month for overflow in some occasions. And so what this will do is it will, by allowing twice as much time for the judges to put somebody in jail and to eliminate prison terms, what you're doing is you're forcing that cost onto the local government.
And as a former prosecutor, you understand how this works. And your voice has been silenced, really, on that Judicial Committee.
And not only mine as a former prosecutor. There was another member who has a significant law enforcement background that was taken off of the committee after having served on that committee. And there's another Aberdeen police officer that was recently elected to the legislature. And he's no longer on that. He's also not on that committee. So we don't have a contingent that understands the criminal justice system on the committee when the most important piece of legislation probably in the last 2 decades in terms of criminal justice reform is coming through the legislature.
Well, we do have a contingent of people on that committee, but this contingent is from what I can see on that committee, it sounds like just people who are ready to just sign a blank check for the administration's proposal.
Well, my fear is not that the people that are coming on the committee have good intentions, but that you're taking out the portion of the committee that would understand the situation best.
It's easier to steamroll.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, folks, be prepared for a real exciting legislative session this year in South Dakota. You haven't heard the last of it yet. This is just the start.